Hello everybody and welcome to our latest Your Wellbeing Matters podcast, where we bring you the latest staff wellbeing news, campaigns and activities that our staff can be involved with. My name's Emma Winter and I'm the Retention and Wellbeing Lead here at Oxley's, and I'm joined by Ali.
So hi, I'm Ali. I'm one of the physiotherapists working over at Meadowview, which is over on Queen Mary's site, up on the fourth floor.
Yeah. Penthouse.
Yes, penthouse. Get a nice view of Dartford Bridge, which
Oh, there we go. So it's been a while since we checked in with colleagues, so we hope that everyone's feeling fit and well. I think we welcome in the warmer months, lighter evenings. I know that a win for me is if I can hand my washing out and things like that. So for April, we're going to be launching a movement month, and this really is, Ali, about encouraging our staff to incorporate in some physical exercise into their working day. And, you know, in a clinical setting especially, we know that's not always easy to do. Our staff work in challenging environments where, you know, access to exercise isn't always an option. So Movement Month is really around the lighter movements. It might just be walking, stretching, getting off the bus stop a bit earlier, or you can do the more intense things like swimming, gym work and things like that. We're going to be talking about Movement Month for April and the sort of activities that you can be involved in as well. And I think we know that if our staff feel good in their overall well-being, incorporating that physical well-being exercise, it just makes us feel better, doesn't it? It just gets people feeling more motivated, more confident, and so on. And I think with the NHS being, a 24/7 service, 365 days of the year, it's constant. You've got the long day shifts, night shifts, weekends, bank holidays. It's not easy to cut off and prioritise yourselves, but we at Oxley's know that, unless our staff look after themselves, they can't look after the patient. So that's, again, a reason why we're launching Movement Month and that campaign there. I don't know about you, Alison, but I know if I incorporate in, a walk or a gym or an exercise class, or I play netball as well, I just feel better. I notice it. I think, oh no, it's okay. And after a few days of not doing my own exercise, I think, no, I need to get back into this. I just don't feel as awake, as confident and things like that. I don't know about yourself and what you factor in for your...
Yeah, so obviously I'm massively biased because I'm a physiotherapist, so my whole job is about exercise, movement and the importance of those things towards sort of your own benefits and your own well-being. I've got a bit of a mixed bag really from my point of view. So I do a little bit of more formal exercise, so things like gym. So I'm joined up at the Queen Mary's gym.
Yeah.
I'm feeling very venturous. I go in the morning before work.
Yeah, it's quite popular, isn't it? It's popular.
Christmas it was nice and quiet, but I don't want to sort of sell it too much. I like being in there on my own. But now it's getting busier again. I think with the lighter days coming in.
Yeah.
I work in football, so I also do a lot of exercise from that point of view. They're more formal, but sort of informally, I do a lot of exercise around sort of what I call micro exercise. So. I'm a bit of a kitchen disco girl. I'm doing the old washing up. I stick on a bit of Motown.
That I can do.
And you know what? It might be 5-6 minutes, but if you're moving around and singing and exercising, it gets the old heart rate up, and that's always a great thing from my point of view. Anything you can really do. But I'm a bit of a walker, which is great for what we're coming into in a little bit. But I love a walk. I love getting out to the local parks. Beckenham Place Park, for example, Greenwich Park.
Yeah, lovely.
Particularly now with the lighter evenings about to come on us.
Yeah, the daffodils are out.
Yeah, the blossoms out. Yeah, the birds are all singing. It's a joy really to go for a walk. So yeah, I do a mixed bag of formal and informal exercise, but it all counts, doesn't it, at the end of the day, really?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I just think, there might be days where you can't factor in as much exercise, so it's doing the things that are achievable in the working day.
Exactly that,
I think you mentioned about, talking to someone, getting up and talking to them rather than Teamsing them or phoning them.
It's that micro exercise. I know it sounds really, really silly, but rather than ringing up on the phone, and I walk down the corridor and go have a chat with them quickly.
Absolutely.
Or if you can't always do it with Wi-Fi or MS Teams, but if you can, and you can schedule it in for that meeting, have a walking supervision, have a walking meeting, where you can even just go and sit outside for a bit.
Yeah.
Have a little micro break.
Yeah.
Everything counts.
Yeah.
And anything's better than nothing.
Yeah, and I know a lot of people are you know, for getting the movement in. If they're on back-to-back calls, they have their sort of walk-in treadmills at home.
It's amazing.
Walking meetings. I know colleagues that do that. They stick their headphones in, whether it's a lap around the building or going outside as well. So it all helps. And, you know, on those days where you can't get to certain classes or whatever it might be, you know, work a bit harder on those like micro exercises and incorporate that in. Earlier, back in March, there was movement hour. So the body coach, Joe Wicks, I think a lot of people used him in lockdown and did his classes and things. He basically pledged for employers to dedicate and give permission for staff to sort of spend an hour doing some sort of exercise, whether that's as a group, individually. And we had some really good feedback about that. People really enjoyed it, had a lot of fun with it, whether that was light exercise or more intense. And I don't know about you, but I think when you launch like movement hour or a walking challenge or whatever it might be, people might feel a bit, oh, that sounds intense. You know, I can't incorporate any more exercise into my day. But it's not about that. It's those little wins.
And I think it's all about celebrating what you already do. So I work in physiotherapy, but I work with my nursing colleagues, and they do an awful lot of walking, whether that's answering call bells, whether that's doing med rounds, whether that's checking CDs. And I think if you actually sat down and thought about how much you actually move, you'd be amazed how much you do. And the first step is to celebrate what you are doing. Because until you acknowledge what you are doing, you can't up it. And I think if you take a moment to sort of appreciate how amazing you are at moving as a human being, then do you know what? I think that's a good starting point for anyone. And I said, everything is better than nothing. I'm not good at maths, but I know that much about maths. Essentially, a little bit of something is better than absolutely nothing. And I think that, you know, we tell our patients to take time for themselves to move, and we tell them the importance of doing those things. It's important we do that for ourselves as first, you know. You can't pour from an empty cup. And that's exactly right. And we need to encourage each other as colleagues. You know, I had a colleague in the office this week, back-to-back Teams meetings, and it's like, are any of those meetings you can go for a walk on, or you know, it's just that's better than sitting down as well. I think so many jobs now are, you know, very much in front of a PC. We're not moving, you know, we get tired. So it really is about taking those comfort breaks. You know, if you're on a call, no one's going to mind if you go and grab some water. You're still checked in, you're still on the call. You know, and actually we've now got that. Whereas before we didn't have that technology and equipment to be able to do that. We now do. So people really need to make sure they're doing that. We're at work so much of the time. It's about, you know, getting that balance and factoring in that exercise. When you think about it more, I think you'll find, and I think you'll be surprised if you ask somebody, could I do this as a walking supervision? They'd be all over it, I suspect, because they're probably sitting at a desk as well. As I said, I'm very blessed. I've got a very active job as a physiotherapist. And one of the easy ways I find of moving each hour, if you will, I've got patients to do exercises with, I sit and do it with them. You know, I know it sounds silly, but a couple of little leg lifts, a bit of ankle pumps, and next thing you know, you're moving. If you're with HCA working on the ward, there's no reason why you can't ask them, have you got an exercise sheet? Let's do it together. And actually then you're moving with them and you're encouraging them, you're motivating them.
It was going to give them confidence,
isn't it? It's a great starting point. And I know it's only a little bit, but as I said, if you start with a little bit, you can then build up. You can't run a marathon tomorrow. I know that much about exercise. You could try. I mean, you might. I'm no Paula Radcliffe, but you might get there. You might get there. So on top of that, so with the feedback we got from Joe Wicks' Movement Hour, we've decided to launch Movement Month for April. So it's encouraging people to move. And so with that, we're going to bring back our virtual walking challenge. So last year, we had fantastic engagement. People really got together, connected, and signed up to our virtual walking challenge, where they walk from a destination and basically collate all of their steps to win the challenge. We give out prizes and things like that. And Ali from Meadowview, they actually won the challenge last year, which was fantastic, really motivated the team. So we're going to be launching that again on the 1st of April. So it's a 659-mile walk. Virtually from the Lake District to London. So that's already live now. You can register to sign up now. There's the QR code, there's a link you can sign up to, start talking about it with your colleagues. And it doesn't have to just be your own team. It can be a group of walkers from various locations or whatever it is. And all of your steps contribute to that team total. And it's not just about walking. You know, if you do an exercise class,
you can add those steps to that, and you can do that manually, or you can sync a device such as a smartwatch or your phone, etc. So we're going to be talking a bit about that. So last year, Ali, I think you guys absolutely smashed it.
We are a rehab ward, so I'd expect it if I don't.
Yeah.
I'm not to pat, I don't challenge everybody, but we are a group of people who exercise for a living. So
Yeah. So do you want to talk a little bit more about how the challenge was for you guys?
Yeah, I mean,
individually?
I'd love to sit here and say, Emma, that it's all about participating, but I won't lie, it feels nice to win. I'm a West Ham fan, so I don't often win. I'm gonna enjoy my moment of winning, because we don't often get it in a...
You take that moment.
I'm going to take a moment, I'm going to enjoy it, because it might not come again for a while, to be honest. But essentially, we really engaged well. I think there's two elements to this. One is that personally how I engage, and one with my team. Yeah. I'll speak personally for a minute, if that's all right. I think it's a challenge that I found, it challenged me. We all know what we've been through COVID as healthcare workers, and I think for myself personally of COVID, I got into a real Netflix and sofa slump.
Yeah, I think we all started making bread and things, didn't we?
Yeah, I mean, I wish I'd done that. I sat and watched anime, essentially, which is not the best habit to get into. And I think that as a physiotherapist, we all like to think we're all really fit and active and healthy. And I found that during COVID, I got challenged into how I would move again. And you know, you get to that slump of, I'll put on a bit of weight, I feel a bit more stiff in the mornings, I feel like I haven't got energy anymore, and you sort of spiral downwards a little bit. And I was sort of quietly looking for a way to get back into exercise that was approachable for me. This challenge turned up. It must have been sent from a guardian angel, perhaps yourself, Emma. And essentially,
I'll take that.
not often you get called a guardian angel, but essentially, I thought I'd sign up for a challenge, and I wondered if I could do it sort of on my own, just have a little walk a bit more, see if I can challenge myself again, get active. And I'm naturally a bit competitive, so I think the idea of getting going was, and having a visual stimulation to get going was perfect for me. And then I was sitting at lunch one afternoon, and I mentioned to one of my colleagues, I'm going to sign up for this challenge, and she was really into it.
Great.
She said, I might join your team if that's all right. And she joined in, she told a couple of girls in the physio department, and then went and told girls in the nursing department, and do you know what, if I knew I had a team. And I think for me, it just really gave me back my confidence with movement. It gave me a bit of a weight loss, which is always a nice bonus. I toned up a lot. And the more I saw myself changing, the more I wanted to change. So then a habit started, and that habit's carried on until now, so that every day I go for a walk, I might do a bit more movement. I try and give myself time to move, and permission to move, dare I say. And permission also to not move sometimes, but then make it up the next day perhaps.
Yeah, that's right. You need that downtime as well.
That, you know.
Everyone needs that downtime, but you know, sometimes having that downtime makes you then work harder the next day or whenever it might be.
And it's about micro exercises for me. So I think as a team, to give background to Meadowview, we're a relatively new team. We're two old teams that have come together. So Bexley and Greenwich joining together. And as we do with teams, we were sort of working through new ways of working and new partnerships in the team. And then this challenge turned up. And again, as I said to you before about myself personally, it's a team, we didn't know we needed the challenge, but we did. And it brought us together. And what I saw were like new friendships forming, little micro chats about how people were getting on, but also encouraging each other and saying, oh, well done, I saw you had a walk yesterday, you did really well.
That's great, isn't it?
And it was actually what we needed, to be honest, to get together, and it's still there now. And I can't tell you the buzz there's been around that team for the challenges back. We have to sort of hopefully hold on to our title.
So you're signing up again.
We have signed up again, 100%.
Holding first place.
We've got a lot of pressure. There's 46 teams this time round.
Yes.
So it's a bit of a challenge for us, but I think we're certainly up for it. And I think it's just nice to see as a trust and as individuals as well as teams, to see us all coming together for a joint movement goal. Which is a physio would give me a lot of joy to my heart, I won't lie.
And I think that, you know, you've just sat there and talked about, you know, you were the winners, but you haven't sat and talked about the prize element. It was actually about, like you say, the taking part, the fact it connects teams.
100%.
You created your own little WhatsApp chat and talked about, you know, who's done this weekend and things. I loved the comments around change of habits. You know, people changed their habits. They learnt things about other colleagues they didn't know before. And, it, you know, with the pressures of the work environment as well, it's really great to have something else to have a common goal, common bond about outside of that setting. And, you know, building that stronger team, that healthier team, that will reflect in your delivering of patient care.
100%.
And that will get noticed. And, you know, that's what this challenge is all about. But also to have fun.
And I think it's just super easy to engage with. I think it wasn't like you see challenges online about gym challenges or do this
Yep.
or wall Pilates, whatever it might be, and you almost got to start something. But when we're all walking already most of the time.
Yes.
And actually, when you look at what you are doing already, you're like, I've got a great starting point.
Yeah.
I can increase from that. And I think because it's such a simple thing,
Yeah.
you haven't got to walk to Lake District, it's good news. But essentially, because it's so easy to engage with it, it's perfect.
Yeah.
Like I found it really easy to engage with, to be honest.
Yeah, did you find the platform, because I think sometimes when you have to register for something, people get a bit, not sure, but I found the platform quite user-friendly. Did you
Yeah,
the
so
team
for
find
me it was
that?
walk in the park, excuse the pun, Emma.
Yeah.
But essentially, I just signed up on the computer, put it onto my phone, the app. I've got a Fitbit. I bought it with my last vouchers from one of the Christmases. I bought it with little treats for myself, a new Fitbit.
That's a great show.
That was to try and encourage me to walk a bit more as well.
It's like you knew this challenge was there, I'm going to win.
But essentially, and my Fitbit just syncs straight in with the app for my daily steps.
Yeah.
But I also found it's really good for like adding in manually. So I have colleagues who don't have Fitbits, who don't have phones that are compatible with it.
Absolutely.
And they could add in themselves, which is quite easy. But also I found like the extras you were doing. So for example, if you were doing a gym session and you didn't have your watch on, you were doing weights, you could add that into being steps. It just did it like that for you. But also, I'm going to say this, my mum will be shocked to hear this. The amount of hoovering I started doing, how excited I was for hoovering because it would add steps in, was amazing. And
so
honestly,
if you hoovered without your watch on, you'd have to re-hoover.
100%, yeah. And it was getting to be an addiction at one point. But essentially, like, your housework counts as well. So I know, it's something we do every single day, but it gave me a bit more of an incentive to do it. Perhaps it's never been so dust-free, my flat. I will honestly say to you, I had to buy a new hoover. It ran out of steam. Bless it by the end of the challenge, but. I think it's one of those things that it's so easy to engage with the app, and it's so easy. And once you can see it adding in, it gives you that little bit of a boost.
You know how it
works.
works.
I've done something.
Yeah,
well
a bit
done,
more comfortable
you know?
with it. Yeah, and that's what we like about it because if you've got your smartwatch or your phone, you can sync it and it will log your steps automatically. But obviously appreciate there's some activities where you can't have that, like swimming, certain sports. Yeah. But if you just upload those onto the platform and put in, I play netball, 40 minutes of netball. There's an ambulance at the end. No, and I'll just put in 40 minutes and it will convert the steps for me. But also we have colleagues where they're not allowed devices in a work setting. So, on your Oxy's favourites, all you need to do is hit the link, load in, 2 hours of walking round your work buildings from building to building, and it will add those steps in. But you can also sync them outside of work as well.
Yeah, perfect.
So there's the QR code, there's a link to sign up. All kicks off on the 1st of April. Registration remains open as well. So if your teams have been on leave and you haven't had a chance to get together, it might be on the 5th of April. You go, right, let's sign up, let's do this. One of the things we talked about as well is May is National Walking Month. So, even at the end of April when the challenge finishes, keep those habits going, embrace those changes. The challenge also, if you finish the challenge, so I think we had this last year. So we had some great team names last year, really some fun ones. And some people finish the challenge before the 30th of April, but what do we say? Keep walking. I think that was one of the questions that came up quite a bit last year.
Yeah, I don't want to give away our trade secret for how we may have won, but we kept walking the whole way through, up until almost midnight, the night is shut, I think, if it was still going. It was very competitive.
Hoovering at 11:30.
And neighbours are going nuts. But yeah, essentially it was a great opportunity to move and walk, and I found the app was really easy. The hardest bit was picking a funny name. Involved, which is really hard. There's definitely better names than us this year. We might have lost that one already, I think, but we're still up for the challenge.
And I think what we're also encouraging is, there's lots of different ways with the movement. We've got some charity walks coming up. I think Charlton FC are doing an Upbeats walk on the 5th of April. That might be something you think, actually, if I've got a purpose to build the steps up. Lots of people talked about doing litter picking as well, because we've got Keep Britain Tidy coming up over the next few weeks. So people talked about walking and doing litter picking, so you're doing that at the same time. Also with the platform, which I don't think people realised at first, they plant trees for every 10 participants. So the more people that sign up to this, the more we're doing in terms of the environment. So I'm quite excited to see, compared to last year, how many trees and things get planted. Also, I think April is Stress Awareness Month. So we know that, you know, incorporating in some physical exercise will help de-stress. That's a technique to de-stress. And I think we were talking about, you know, grounding exercise, walking, reconnecting and things. So we'll be sharing a lot more information about April Stress Awareness Month.
I look forward to it.
And, you know, we'd recommend doing the walk-in challenge as a way of dealing with that.
It's a good warm-up, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a good warm-up for what's coming for the next few months.
Yeah. So part of Movement Month, obviously we'll have our lovely wellbeing champions coming round. They're going to come around and check in with staff, how they're doing, take feedback, encourage people to sign up for the challenge to beat Meadowview. And you know, they can help you sign up if you're struggling and things like that. So they'll be around to check in, hopefully with some goodies as well. We'll be talking about some other activities we're hoping to run for Movement Month on top of the walking challenge as well. We've got Zumba and GlowFit classes at Memorial. We have our Breathe Arts programme. So Breathe Arts put on free wellbeing classes virtually or in person as well. So we'll be sending more information out about that. The Queen Mary Staff Gym. You know, that's been really popular. I popped down there when it first opened. You know, really nice facilities.
It is. It's a lovely work environment. It's got all the machines you could ask for.
Yeah, and you know, you don't have to just be based there. Any Oxy staff member can register as well. You've got the Woodland Walk at Goldie Lee as well. So there's lots of things that you can do, and lots of things we'll be sharing more about during Movement Month as well. So thank you, Ali, for joining us.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
We wish everyone the best of luck that's taking part of the challenge. There's still time to sign up. We'll be sending out some motivational messages. So, you know, walk past the Easter eggs, walk past the hot cross buns, just keep walking. But no, you might need those. I think we said, didn't we? You might need some of that.
Need a little bit of sugar and carb loading, I think, to get you
I think with 11 checkpoints in this challenge, it's a bit bigger than last year. You might need those hot cross buns and Easter eggs. But yeah, we'll be sending out some messages. Good luck, and we really hope you enjoy the challenge. It's all about coming together, having fun, all the benefits that Ali's talked about, and we'll see you soon. Thanks for joining us. Thanks, Ali.
Cheers, no worries. Thank you.
Thank you.